Welcome to the Business of Us podcast. We invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful and brief. In this episode, we have Jason Lyman, Chief Marketing Officer at Customer.io. Jason, welcome to the Business of Us podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Great. Thank you for coming. So first of all, happy Canada Day to all Canadian listeners we have. And happy July 4th to all American listeners who will be listening to this episode next Monday when it will be live. And we're going to move forward with setting this stage first. So, in today's crowded AI-fueled landscape, it's not enough just have messaging. It has to stand out. In this episode, I'm joined by Jason from Customer.io to unpack what makes great mobile messaging work. From building frameworks rooted in value and differentiation to using third-party data to deliver the right message to the right moment. We will talk strategy, execution, and the tools that help brands stay personal, timely, and unmistakably themselves, even at scale. Jason, before we begin, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in tech?
Sure. I actually didn't start my career in tech, but I've made my way there through some really interesting experiences. So my first job out of college was working as a strategy consultant, and so we were advising a lot of media and entertainment companies that were being disrupted by new media technology. So I was able to see firsthand the power that tech could have in changing customer perceptions, customer experiences, and a lot of our work, unfortunately, centered around helping companies protect what they had versus embracing the power of new technology. So I decided that I wanted to work more closely with products that are pushing innovation forward. So I decided to do a little bit of grad school work. So I spent 2 years at Berkeley and used that to transition into tech. And so I started out really big. I went up to Microsoft and joined the Office 365 group. So it was a really interesting time to be there because they were effectively trying to disrupt themselves. And so I was able to see how to effectively market a SaaS solution, how to market at scale. But I also kind of realized that I wasn't a big company guy. I wanted to go somewhere where I could have more clear ownership, more direct impact. So I left there and joined a little startup at the time called Dropbox. I was the second product marketer, and over the 4.5 years that I was there, the marketing team ballooned to 110 people. I was managing a team of 20 product marketers and 7 campaign managers by the end. Had a chance to work on the IPO and was able to see how marketing teams need to evolve through multiple phases of growth. And this is kind of where I caught this bug, where I felt like these high growth marketing opportunities are the ones where I feel like I had this unique experience where I could add the most value. And so I've tried to focus on those kind of startups that are in that stage. And so I've subsequently, worked at a handful of different startups to really kind of hone my skills and my craft. I joined Customer.io, which is now I think my fourth or fifth startup since Dropbox, and I joined as the chief marketing officer. So I've been here about 2.5 years. It's been a really amazing time to be here. The company's gone through amazing growth, and a lot of my focus has been how can I help to build and mature our marketing motion here. And so we went through a brand refresh. We've updated our messaging and positioning. We've scaled out the demand gen motion to expand across a variety of different channels, and really kind of build out the systems and processes that are necessary for us to operate effectively. So it's been an amazing ride with an amazing product, and I've really enjoyed my time.
Wow, this is great. Dropbox. It's one of those services that I'm still using over the years. Even the Skype dropped out, so to speak. It's not anymore here with us, but Dropbox is still kicking. It's still my preferable tool to sync my stuff. I'm not using for business anymore. It's just we used to Google Drive, but for my personal stuff, it's going to be remaining my tool, my choice of syncing platform. So yeah, it's been really great since I used to work at the company when it was small. Yeah, love it. Now, tell us about customer.io.
Yeah, so Customer IO is an AI powered customer engagement platform built for companies to create these personalized journeys that can help you engage and convert customers. And we deliver on that promise by helping marketers build and send messages across all major marketing channels. So these are things like email, in app, push, SMS. We even have webhook functionality that you can use to support other alternative channels. And we believe that we're different because our focus is on making first party data actionable in real time. So we can help you send targeted messages based upon customer behavior. So it's not just demographics, but actual actions that people are taking in your product or on your website. And so what we want to do is we want to sit at the center of your marketing tech stack. So we'll connect to your CRM like Salesforce, your data warehouse like maybe a Snowflake, and your analytics tools like Amplitude. So you have all of this information inside of Customer IO, and you can use that data to really drive your customer communications. So, what we want to do is we want to, build for what I like to call smarter marketers, those who are using AI as a creative partner to use this data to help them move faster and be more effective in their communications with customers.
So the company's name customer.io is for a good reason because you're so focused on first party data.
That's right. Yeah, the in out moniker is very appropriate given what we are trying to do for app developers, for businesses, B2B businesses, B2C businesses, 100%.
Got it. All right. Zooming into our today's topic. In a world where everyone is using I mean, literally, how can brands actually stand out with their messaging and not just sound smarter, but being authentic?
Yeah, this is an interesting paradox that we've kind of created for ourselves. We have all these incredible tools like AI recommendations, powerful automation, sophisticated targeting, but everybody's using that playbook. And I think the result is customers are getting bombarded with messages that sounds very, very similar. And so standing out needs to be less about being louder or more frequent, and it needs to be focused around being more authentic. So at Customer IO, we talk about this as transforming how companies communicate with customers. That's our lens, that's our differentiation. That's what we believe we can provide to app developers. And so, we believe that having a great message is only half the equation, though. The other half is delivering that message at exactly the right moment, through the right channel, and with the right context. And so the key is that AI should be amplifying your differentiation, not replacing it. I think you see too many brands that rely on AI to create these generic messages or generic content at scale. And that's the wrong approach. You need to be using that AI to deliver your unique message more precisely, not to create more noise. So, you need to make sure you're keeping your brand voice and your value proposition kind of distinctly yours. And that's how a solution like Customer IO can help you do that.
That's a really great approach because I believe many brands were scared first of having so much capabilities from AI, generative AI specifically, and obviously when everybody else are using the same tools, you have to use those tools as well, and this is your first introduction to the tools that are so capable. Previously, you could only have recognition of objects, tagging images, stuff like that, but not generating stuff in a second. When writing actually can be done within a minute, then usually it would take for a person to write 15 minutes the same piece. So yeah, it's just you're saying quantity should not go beyond the quality. Quality always goes first. Now, what role does first party data play in making messaging more relevant and timely? And how does this go beyond traditional segmentation?
Yeah. So, first party data is absolutely the future, especially with privacy regulations that are tightening up across the globe. So, here's what I see happening. I think marketers are sitting on these gold mines of customer data, but they're not using it effectively. A lot of people are thinking about segmentation in a very traditional way. I'll put people in buckets based upon maybe their demographics or their past behavior. But when you have that first party data in a solution like Customer IO, it can allow you to create these dynamic behavioral segments that update in real time. So instead of using, broad based, I want to reach out to customers who haven't used the app in 30 days, you can get way more granular and way more targeted. So maybe you can focus on customers who have maybe not completed the setup of this part of your product or have not explored this new feature that recently launched. And so you need to make sure you have your arms around what is happening in a real time basis within your application itself. And then you need to leverage that first party data and make it actionable. So at Customer IO, we help you use this real time understanding around your customers to drive these unique experience that deliver that action and conversion. So to help illustrate this point, I can want to talk about a recent experiment that we ran on our 14-day trial experience. So, I think like a lot of folks, you probably had this generic sending, hey, your trial is ending, come in and convert. But instead of using that generic message, we actually use the product usage data for that individual person to create a personalized journey that use their experience with the product to incentivize them with messaging that we thought would drive better conversion. So, for example, maybe somebody used our workflow builder to get different messaging in place versus more traditional basic emails. And just by referencing that experience, by talking about the value of that specific use case, we saw dramatically better conversion rates. And so, I think a performance was 46% better using that level of personalization versus the generic, your trial is ending emails that we saw. So hopefully that's a good example of how making your messaging more relevant and more timely can actually drive more impact for your business.
Yeah, staying relevant is the name of the game, as I see it. As time goes by, it becomes more and more progressively challenging to stay relevant with people who have so much of dynamics in their lives. And every time your messaging still has to be relevant in that very moment. Otherwise, people will be just moving on, will be blind to your messaging. How pretty it is, it will be just disregarded. Now, switching to marketing, timing, and channels. So once you have the right message and the right audience, how do you ensure it lands at the right moment and channel?
Yeah, I think that piece is really important, and I think the core takeaway that I want people to understand is you need to make sure that your campaign is adaptable, and the way that you do that is through these kind of behavioral triggers. A recent Salesforce study that I saw found that 64% of customers expect campaigns to adapt to their changing preferences. So therefore, your communication should change based upon user actions, and that's really the kind of baseline expectation. And then when we think about kind of the optimization of the channels that you use, sometimes email is going to make sense. Sometimes SMS is going to be important because it signals urgency, or maybe you want to use in-app or push notifications because those are very behavioral driven. The key is to have a platform that can use AI to analyze each customer's engagement patterns and predict what channel they're most likely to respond to. Because maybe they've never opened emails, but they always click push notifications, or they engage with SMS during work hours, but they tend to default towards email in the evenings. So one thing that we've done at Customer IO is we've introduced send time optimization that's really powered by AI to deliver those messages when each individual customer is most likely to engage. So I think in the end, it's not about finding the best time for everyone. It's about finding the best time for each person. And this is some of the kind of tooling and sophistication that marketing teams need to be using to really break through the noise and drive impact from their outreach.
All right, let's cover some mistakes. So, what are some common mistakes companies make when trying to personalize messaging at scale, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, I think that sometimes marketers can get in the trap of thinking that personalization is just generic. hi, and using their first name. But, yeah, I think that's baseline now. The real personalization goes way beyond that. So rather than just the copy that might be personalized at the top of your messages, you need to also be using the behavioral data, the product usage patterns, the life cycle stages that a customer might be in to actually craft messages that resonate. I think that another mistake is trying to build a more omni-channel approach right out of the gate. Because what I found is that a lot of marketers can get overwhelmed and then their teams start to lose patience. So I always like to recommend starting small, pick one customer journey that you want to optimize, maybe focus on one specific pain point, and then start with just that first channel and get that right, get a good baseline, measure the impact, and then expand beyond that. So start to layer on some of those additional channels and add more sophistication into the various types of messages that you're using. I think that will just help you build this muscle in a more effective way. And then I think the third mistake I would probably call out is not making your data accessible in real time. So if you can't act on customer behavior as it's happening, you're really missing the moment where you're going to deliver this impact for them. And so you need to be thinking about the way to really unify your data experiences. So make sure that you're leveraging platforms that can connect to CRMs and data warehouses and analytics tools so that you have this one place where you as a marketer can build campaigns and respond to what customers are actually doing using the data and insights that you have from the other tools that are in your martech stack.
Now, finally, how do you balance automation with authenticity, especially when using AI in messaging workflows?
Yeah, at Customer IO, we believe that AI should work as a creative partner and a collaborator for each marketer. So we're building AI functionality that enhances that ideation, sharpens your output, and helps you kind of stay in the creative flow. So just to illustrate that with an example, today you can access an AI powered segment builder inside of Customer IO. So you can actually describe the audience that you want to target with a given message or campaign using natural language. So you could, be pretty descriptive, right? You could maybe articulate, I want to talk to customers who downloaded our mobile app but haven't made a purchase in the last 30 days. Let's focus on iOS devices first. Like you could just articulate, hey, this is what I'm interested in, and then the AI will actually build those segments automatically. And then, to augment, once you get into the actual message building phase, we have content analysis tools that are powered by AI that provides you with guidance on the best ways to optimize your messaging while also balancing, the need to be authentic with your brand voice. And so I think the key here is that AI needs to handle the tactical execution while the human side can own the strategy and the creativity. AI can identify the right moment to engage with things like the send time optimization functionality that I discussed earlier, and maybe it can help you kind of predict the likelihood of conversion. But you as the marketer, you got to own the quality of that output. So that's your message, your value prop, your brand voice, like that all is distinctly yours, and you need to own that. So I think about the future of marketing being powered by AI, driven by outcomes, and built on tools that can move at this increased speed to really foster the creativity that we all have as humans. And so, at Customer IO, we want to help marketers build that future, one where that creativity, that speed, and that insight kind of coexists in every campaign that they develop.
I like that your platform has this capability to allow people express their needs, their goals, and their campaigns using natural language. Because I believe this is a problem. We've been trained by Google or and Bing, other small search engines, to be very brief, very keyword oriented in our queries, and this is kind of a muscle memories we have, and it's really hard for us to switch in regular mode. Just imagine you're trying to explain something to a person sitting next to you, your employee. So you have to be as descriptive as you would be as a human being to really give for AI what it needs to give you a great uh, to generate the text, graphics, anything you need. That's a bit of a problem learning curve people are going through.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, we in the end, AI is going to allow us to, I think, develop how we interact with applications in a way that feels more it aligns more with maybe how we think, how we interact with others, and I think that's just going to unlock some of the kind of power of these tools, because you don't have to have this paradigm in which you think about working in a certain way based upon how you have to input information into a given application. It kind of normalizes your kind of working model and aligns more clearly with the ways that you tend to just operate as a human. So I'm similarly kind of bullish around how this is going to change the day to day for marketers, and I believe it's going to help make us just more efficient, more thoughtful, and that's going to in turn translate into more impact for prospects and customers.
Totally. All right. And now to land our plane, so to speak. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me, please look me up on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way. I'm also on X, formerly Twitter. My handle is just my name, Jason Lyman. And then if you're interested in learning more about Customer IO, please head out to our website. The nice part about having your company name as your website is it's easier to remember there. So type in customer.io, and you can. We actually offer a free trial, 14-day free trial, so people can actually experience our platform firsthand. It doesn't require a credit card. So you can really just go in, learn and see kind of what we have to offer, maybe test out some of those AI powered features that I referenced in today's discussion. And would love to help you drive more engagement and conversion from, your base of users for your individual apps there. We've had a lot of success with companies in the mobile app space, and we think that there's a lot of potential for our platform.
Great. Jason, thank you so much for coming on our show. It was awesome. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank, Thanks.
And that was Jason Lyman, Chief Marketing Officer at Customer.io. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you will be able to get new episodes of the show on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.